Well, hello everybody. This is going to be a first for me. I am going to sit here and in real time I'm going to attempt to draw a picture. Some of you have been following my channel. You've seen me post a lot of drawing videos. They've all been speed drawing videos. But I really like watching, personally I like watching other people draw. It helps me relax, it helps me see the creative process. Plus, I just think it's cool to have like a blank piece of paper and then create something that wasn't there before. So, I've never done this before, and I figure only one of two types of people are going to watch this video. One is going to be those who follow my channel that like to watch what I say, hear what I say, that kind of thing. So if you're that type of person, just pull up a seat, pour yourself a drink, light up a pipe, whatever you want to do. Let's just hang out for a couple hours while we sit here and draw this picture together. If you've come to this video because you're an artist or you want to see how to draw, then this video is for you too. I am going to have a little disclaimer though, that I am not a trained artist. I didn't even consider myself to be an artist as of a year ago. I've never gone to art class, I've never gone to art school. Basically everything I've learned about drawing is just what I've seen on YouTube and from some people that I watch. So one of those happens to be Bradwin Jones, so I'll put a link to his channel in the description. He's an amazing artist who has helped me out a lot just by watching him. So without further ado, I'm going to try and draw this picture. I've already tried this once before. In fact, a couple days ago I made this video. I probably spent at least 2 hours trying to draw this picture, and I did not like the way it turned out. So now I'm extra motivated to try and get it right today. So wish me luck that I don't waste my time for another 2 hours or so. So I'm just going to try and, again, I don't really have a rhyme or reason to how I do what I'm going to do. I'm just kind of winging it. I kind of went back through some of my old videos. One of the reasons why I film videos in the first place is so I can track my progress, track what I do, how I did it, so I can look back and see. And it's been probably 3 months since I've drawn anything, so I'm very rusty. Very rusty. So I'm just trying to like get an idea of like angles at this point. I'm not even sure I know exactly what I'm doing. Again, a lot of people that are artists who do this for a living, they probably know, oh, first I start with this step and then I start with this step and blah blah blah, and that's not me. I just kind of like hope I'm doing something right and sit back and see what takes shape. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. I'm thinking I want to start with like kind of where the nose and the eyes, and just start there. Like I said, I tried this a couple days ago, and the picture turned out like garbage. I did not like it at all. I tried to save it. I mean, it looks okay for like a person, you know, a human being. It doesn't look like an alien. But I just wasn't happy with it. Now, you know what I probably should have done, which I normally do, is I try and like outline the face. So let me just kind of start over a little bit. And that's one thing I've kind of learned as an amateur artist, is that it's okay to erase. It's something that you never really think about, or you think is like a no-no, or you might think like, oh, You know, real artists, they get it right the first time because they're artists and they know what they're doing. And it's like, that's not my experience. My experience is it's even the best people make not only mistakes, but they make a lot of mistakes. So it's okay to, like, you know, make a mistake. So I'm not doing any measurements right here. I'm just kind of like looking at the picture, kind of outlining maybe where the face is going to be. And that just gives me like a rough idea of how big this drawing is going to lay on the paper. You know, and I end up erasing most of this anyway. So, and again, this is not like accurate. You know, you can see the face is really round. It's not going to be that round. But my problem has always been, like, some of my drawings are small, some are big. I have no idea what it's going to turn out as, because once you start laying down some of the values and laying down the features, you might see, like, oh, I got to bring this up, or I got to drop this back. And anyway, I'm just trying to get like a basic frame of like the face. So if I figure the face is going to be this big, that might even be too big, I don't know. But let's just go with it. Let's just see what happens. So when I tried to draw this the other day, one of the things that was like really off was the angle. Now, again, because I'm not a trained artist, I'm kind of holding the pencil like I should probably be holding the pencil, you know, more like this or something. But, you know, do what's comfortable for you, because that's ultimately what is going to make you feel good about what you're drawing. So I'm trying to find like just a sort of like an intersection of like how her head is tilted. You know, I'm looking at like her eyes. Her eyes look like, and I'm actually trying to like maybe even go more tilted than I think, just because, like I said, the last time I did this, it did not turn out very well. My last attempt, she was like looking almost straight on at the camera instead of kind of, you know, you could see she's tilted, her head's cocked a little bit to the side. She might even be pointing her head down a little bit, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. So this is just, okay, I'm getting a basic idea now of where the face is going to lay out on the paper. So let's just see what happens. I'll put the nose somewhere there. Now, I keep checking my angles because I want to see. You know, you want to get the angles all the same. So if the eye is at a certain angle here, you want the nose to be at that same sort of angle. And right now at this point, like, I don't know, did I make the nose down too far? I don't know. So I'm just going to kind of go with it at this point, and see what happens. Again, it's not something that I can tell you exactly what I'm going to be doing here. But her nose comes out a little bit, so I'm kind of like trying to I'm just guessing at this point. You know, I'm just kind of laying down some lines. And this, you can all, you know, this can all be changed. It's not like you're set in stone You know, so it's like at this point I'm just kind of like drawing a nose. I'm just lightly drawing a nose. Like again, it's kind of thrown me off. Like this whole, I think what I'm going to do is kind of erase a little bit this outline that I did of the head. Again, me erasing. It's like, why did I lay it down in the first place if I'm just going to erase it? But it was just to kind of like give me a starting point, I think. So, I'm trying to like, well, you know what's funny is I was like watching like some of my old videos, my old drawing videos, and I just, back then I was just, a few months ago, I was like in the zone. I was like, it almost seemed so easy, but I was drawing at least a portrait a day, maybe a portrait every other day. And it was like, man, I look at those videos now and it's almost like magic, like watching the picture come to life. And it's funny, even though I did it, my hand drew it, I was holding the same pencil, like, I don't remember how I did that because it's been a few months. And so I'm kind of like having to retrain myself. So I'm trying to find like the outside corner of where her eye is going to be. So I'm holding up an angle from like the edge of the nostril to the outer edge of her eye. It looks like it's something like that, maybe. Again, at this point, it's kind of like your best guess. You know, I'm just laying down really light strokes. I'm not doing anything that's going to be hard to erase at this point. My hand's all shaky right now. Stop shaking. So I'm just, I'm just guessing. It's kind of frustrating, to be honest with you, because like I said, when you think you got it down, you think like, oh, I got this drawing thing down, I know what I'm doing. And then you take some time off, and then you like realize, oh, crap, I really don't know what the heck I'm doing. How did I do that before, So, I noticed in some of my old drawings, I kind of started like this was my base. Like, if, lay the nose down and then work from there. Work up and get the eyes. So try and get the eyes and the nose. So that's kind of what I'm focusing on at this point. I'm kind of just focusing on that. Yeah, so let me think here. I'm kind of I got to find like where the eyes are going to be. This is kind of like the brow area. So the eyes are usually, there's this keystone shape that's right here where this kind of looks like almost like an upside down pyramid. And I find usually the eyes kind of start right where it meets. Right before the nose comes out. So I'm kind of just going to guess at this point. Maybe lay down a line like right in here. And again, I'm trying to keep the same. God, if I only knew how to hold the pencil. Kind of just laying down a line. Oh my God, this is bad. All you real artists out there who watch this are probably going, man, that guy doesn't know what he's doing. That's alright. It's all like, it's all fun. I'm just kind of trying to, I'm trying to like lay down like almost like three-dimensional shapes so I can focus on like form and not just lines. So this, I already don't like this part. But yeah, I'm super motivated. Like I was saying in the beginning of this video, one of the guys that I watch all the time is Bradwin. He doesn't know who I am, because, who am I? But he's someone that I've always looked up to as far as his attitude and his insight when it comes to drawing, and plus he's just a fun dude to watch. I know I'd be able to totally hang out with him if I lived closer, but he's in like Southern California and I'm up here in Northern California. So again, I'm just kind of double checking things. I'm kind of like trying to slowly lock in the features, and that, that's always been my problem before. I don't know if you guys are like this, you artists, but it's easy to get like impatient. You'll look at an artist and see that they draw really fast, and so you think you think something's wrong with you if you don't draw fast, or something's wrong if you aren't efficient like that. And you got to just kind of put those feelings aside and just be like, hey, you're doing it, why are you doing it? You're doing it usually because it's a fun challenge. For me, it's like, it's a fun, it's just a fun challenge. It's like something to, like I said, I like being able to look at something and challenge myself to see, can I reproduce that? And my style is, I don't use any measuring device. I want everything to be my eyeballs in my brain. My brain and my eyeballs is what I like to rely on. So I don't use rulers, I don't use protractors, measuring tapes. I don't use any of that stuff because, not that there's anything wrong with it, but let's see, hold on one sec. I can't function while I'm trying to do this. So it looks like this eye, it looks like the eye on our left, her right eye, looks like it's at sort of that angle. That angle where the back, the further part of the eye is up a little bit, maybe. It's at kind of that angle, but it looks like this eye over here is more like back a little bit. So since I know it kind of falls on this line, somewhere around there, give or take, instead of putting it down on the slant, I'm going to put it maybe even a little bit. See, this is the problem I had before. Yeah, there's definitely a slant to this eye and not the other eye. And you can't really see what I'm doing, but I'm trying to take like comparative measurements. So I'm holding my pencil up at the eye, and I'm just going from corner to corner of the eye and seeing like what that angle is. Something like that. So if I'm doing this right, that's the eye line. That's where the eye's gonna be. And then this eye over here, gosh, it almost looks pretty much like straight across. And I'm just drawing these lines as like just a gauge. So keep checking my angles. I think that's okay. Again, I wish I had a steady hand. My hand is not very steady. But again, this isn't, you know, my goal is not to be like photorealistic. I used to think that. That was what I wanted to do. Like I want you to look at this picture and be like, wow, that doesn't even look like a drawing. That looks just like you took it with a camera. How impressive is that? But I mean, to me, that's really not that's not my goal. You know, if I drew something that looked exactly like a picture, I mean, where you couldn't even tell it apart, then why not just have a picture? You know, I mean, I guess there's some cool bragging rights to say like, yeah, you thought this was a picture, but this is actually a drawing. Like that. I mean, that's cool, but you know, if it's going to look just like a picture, then why not just have the picture? So yeah. That's my thought on that. So I'm trying to like just sketch out the eye a little bit here. And it's kind of difficult for me. Like I said, I'm still learning, so trying to like see what the rhythm of the eyes are, kind of. And you know, and the more you draw, like the more you're gonna see like bad habits or things that you do. Like I tend to like make the eyes bigger than they need to be. And I don't know why that is. I think, I don't know. I'm not sure why my brain does that, but so right now, like my first reaction is like, oh, I'm making the eyes too small. But I'm just going to go with it because more times than not, I start second guessing myself like too early. And it's never, like usually I'm right the first time, or maybe not the first time, but I'm just kind of like, at this point, I'm trying not to think too much, because you can fix just about anything that you do at this point. Nothing's in stone. Nothing's too crazy. Now, see, I don't know. Right, well, I guess my eyes are at my angle. So again, see, my brain is like trying to second guess again, but I'm just gonna go with it, people. So I guess I should explain like who this person is. Well, if all goes well, and in this video, you're watching this video, that means all went well, and I was kind of happy with how it turned out. But this is like the first video on my channel in probably 2.5 months. And there's a couple reasons for that. One is sometimes I just need to take a break away from social media. So, can you guys see that okay? I guess you can. Let's see if I can zoom up. Alright. I just need to take a break from social media sometimes. You know, I was thinking about this the other day, how there's certain people that they need social media. Like, if they're away from social media for too long, they start like going through withdrawals, and they gotta check their social media. And I'm almost the opposite. If I find myself doing it too much, I need to like pull back and just take a little break, a little breaky poo. So part of me is like that. I kind of pulled back a little bit. And then the other part is my daughter, for those of you who follow me on Instagram, because I kind of post more on Instagram these days. She broke her ankle in 3 different spots. She does competitive gymnastics. And she was doing the high bar routine. And she fell off the high bar. It's 8 feet high. And she fell and landed wrong. And she snapped her ankle in 3 different spots. So she needed surgery, and the person that did the surgery is this person that you see me drawing right now. So she was on my mind, and I thought this was kind of like a neat picture, but a challenging picture at the same time. So I wanted to film her. Hold on, my wife's calling, so I might mute this. Hey, babe.
Hey, love.
I'm drawing right now.
We're already back on the freeway.
Oh, okay.
Everything went good. She says it looks good. We took new x-rays.
Uh-huh.
So I have pictures to show you.
Oh, good. Did they recast it?
They just rewrapped it.
Okay. Well, we...
So they didn't need to take it all off. Her stitches for her incision
Yeah.
are dissolved.
Oh, good.
So you actually don't need to remove the cast, like to take it off, to take the stitches out.
Okay.
She's like, you might have, like, when you take the cast out, there might be, like, a couple of strings still, like, hanging out, but they're dissolvable.
But you won't know that for like 6 weeks, right?
We go back in 4 weeks.
Oh, 4 weeks? Okay.
She said they'll, x-ray it again, and then, most likely put her in a boot.
Okay.
So, but she still won't be, it won't be a walk-in boot. She still can't walk on it if they put her in the boot.
Yeah, I figured. So she's going to be off her feet for 6 months.
Not 6 months. 12 weeks is 3 months.
Oh, I thought that was just the cast.
No, the cast was 6 weeks. The boot was 6 weeks.
Oh, okay.
So she said everything looks good. She's like, this appointment was just really to make sure everything was like, well, baby. She then wants me to tell you she's playing Don't Starve.
Oh, all right.
And she got a science machine.
Oh, all right.
He said, all right. So she's like, the x-rays look good. She just asked me if she was having any pain. I said, no. I said, sometimes we get super itchy and it makes us cry. And she said, that's part of, casting. There's not much we can do. I said, so Benadryl, she's like, you can try tapping the cat.
Mm-hmm.
Just tap it, which I do. She's like, and have you tried the blow dryer trick? I said, but I don't know if we did it right. She
Mm-hmm.
like with the blow dryer at the top of the task, just like blow the cold air down it that way.
Okay.
I was like, all right. So anyway, we're on our way home. We're probably gonna stop by and probably make good time so we can go back to school. She said she had a math test today, so hopefully she can get that taken care of.
All right.
All right.
All right. Love you.
Love you too.
Bye.
Bye.
All right. Sorry about that. That's my wife calling to fill me in on the doctor's appointment. So all I'm doing, since I kind of established where the nose is right now in relation to the eyes, now I want to start like laying down the mouth. So I'm trying to establish where the corners of the mouth are. And so I just kind of hold my pencil up like that, close an eye, see where the corner falls in relation to the eye. This one might need to go over just a little bit. It's almost like where the pupil is, it looks like. So if I kind of draw lightly a line straight down and that same sort of angle that the face is tilted at, something like that maybe. So I know like the smile is going to be probably somewhere on this line, and it's going to go over to somewhere on this line. And then if I did my angle measurements right, like this nostril to the eye corner and extend it down, I want that to hit like the little crevice part in the lip. You know, this part, the whatever that's called. I'm not good with terminology, but yeah. So see how this kind of like makes like a little point here. I'm hoping that point is going to coincide with the upper lip. So if those two were to meet somewhere around here, give or take, like that's where the lip's going to be. And I mean, the mouth is going to be, I'm going to try and keep that same sort of angle. So, something like that. So again, this is like, I just do little dots, you know, like a little reference point, but you know, my biggest problem is like, you know, if you were to just draw a straight line, like that wouldn't be accurate, right? Because the face has a form to it. So it kind of goes up, you know, like it's a what's the word I'm looking for? Like a fleshy mound. So I'm going to try and draw lightly this little rhythm line. You know, you could see like the smile line that she has. So if I go from the nose to that line, and the same with the other side. I'm trying to like see where that other side, that line on her cheek. Let's see if I go from the corner of her eye oh shoot. It's kind of like in there somewhere. So, Hopefully, if you guys are like me, one of the takeaways from a video like this is that even those of us who kind of have some experience drawing, like, even we, like, second guess things, and it's not like it's always easy, you know. So one of my problems I always have, one of my many problems now in relation to the mouth is, like, do I start drawing the top lip? Like, do you draw the whole outline of the mouth and then work in? So, you know, start with the top lip, then do the bottom of the top lip, then do the, you know, top of the bottom lip. Like, I'm not sure. Or do you do, like, everything but the lips? Do, like, the outline of the mouth and then do the lips on top of it? I honestly don't know. So I'm thinking I'm just going to do, like, the top lip. Since I got this point right here, this little V. V for very hard to draw, this part. And then let me just see if I can, if the V's there, you kind of got that angle. See, it almost looks like it's up a little higher. We'll see. We'll see here. So it looks like the lip kind of goes out past the nose a little bit. And then slightly up to the back. So again, I might fix all this. This is just, again, this is just like guessing at this point. I don't know why this is so low. Why I put it right here, but let's just see what happens. So, oh, I know why I did that, because I had that one angle, but I mean, the smile has to go down. So see, this is where my brain's like, my brain's trying to level everything, but it looks like when the corner of the mouth, if I were to line up the corners, there has to be an angle. And see, my brain's trying to make it even. And it's not even. It's not even, brain! So, again, this is where I'm like, kind of freaking out a little bit. I know the mouth falls around this line, right? And I know the top of this lip is about right here. And if I'm looking at the picture, the corner of the mouth looks like if I were to draw, if it was even, it would be like right here. But it's not even. It looks like it's up a little bit. So I'm going to say it's around here, maybe? Maybe? I'm holding this eraser in my hand so much, I feel like it's getting all sweaty. I gotta be careful. It's been hot, man. It's been real hot here in California. It was 115 here in Northern California recently, and that is just not cool. So I'm trying to just get that angle of the mouth again if I can. I don't know if I'm doing it right, but you know, my hope and dream of this video is that I get a drawing that I'm happy with, and that you guys can see that I don't always know what I'm doing. But that's one of the things I've learned, like from watching people on YouTube, is that they erase, they make mistakes, and it's okay. So, you know, at this point it's hard to tell. It's hard to tell, like, if you're on it or not, you know, like how accurate you are. So I'm just kind of going with it. I'm kind of drawing little lines to help me out. There's something called the Riley abstraction, which really kind of helps me, is just picturing like how the angles are on the face, and you know, the planes of the face. You know, like this is going to be like a side plane somewhere around here. I don't know. I'm just guessing. You know, so this would be the front of the face. This would be sort of the side of the face that's kind of turned to the side. But again, it all depends. Like, you know, some drawings I do like a lot of these abstractions and stuff, but others I just draw like comparatively. Like I go, okay, well, where's the eyebrows start in relation to the eye? Where's, you know, the mouth, like how far down does the mouth go? So that's sort of the problem I'm kind of having at this point. So if this is the top lip, then I'm just going to guess and be like, it comes this way, and it kind of meets here, maybe. Maybe. And then, God, mouths are always so hard. Especially this mouth, because her smile's kind of like, I mean, it's not in the center of her nose, you know. Like, I'm trying to look at like her tooth, her middle tooth, and it looks like it's kind of like right in this area. Now I'm almost like guessing, like how far down do the teeth go? So, you know, the teeth are at this angle, so it's kind of like a little sideways. And this is the corner of the mouth, so, you know, like, I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing. So, yeah, if the teeth go to here, and then it's like the bottom lip here somewhere, And then the bottom of that is maybe here. I don't know what I'm doing, guys. Forgive me. Again, this is like where I don't know. So I'm just taking little guesses. So I'm sure this is all going to change, because right now this doesn't look like a very good mouth. I mean, but you know, when you don't have shading and stuff on there, it's also hard to tell. I need to check the camera, make sure I'm on there. You know, it's hard to tell exactly how this is going to line up. So let's just leave that there for now. You know. You know, the chin is going to be down, let's see. The lip to the chin, the bottom of the lip to the bottom of the chin is just about the bottom of the lip to the nose, it looks like. It almost looks like that distance is that distance. Maybe. Again, it's all guessing at this point, you know what I mean? It's like, say like that's the chin. You know, so that is about that. And then I'll check like the bottom of the nose to the eyebrows, or to the brow ridge. And that's about the same distance as this. So that's pretty accurate, right? Man, it's hot. Okay. So, what else do I want to do? How much time do we got? It's been on for almost 50 minutes. Maybe I'll start laying some eyebrows on. Alright, so if this is the little keystone shape, okay, so the eyebrows look like they kind of go up at that angle. Until about the middle of the eye, maybe, somewhere. And then they kind of do this little 360 hook right here, 180. 180, it's probably what, 45 degrees. And it looks like it hooks out to the edge of the eye. So, somewhere around there. I don't want to make them too thick though, because then they look like Michael Dukakis or somebody. All you young people are going, who's Michael Dukakis? It's not important, but he's got a funny sounding name. Alright. So again, this is just me trying to take things slow. I'm not trying to rush. So we'll just see how this all plays out. So far though, knock on wood, I'm liking this layout of the face better than the last time I tried to draw it. I'm kind of taking my time a little bit more. I'm feeling a little bit more confident now that I've messed up the first time. When you give yourself permission to mess up, that's kind of a big thing. Like, don't put too much pressure on yourself. It's okay. It's okay to mess up. I mean, you're not drawing for NASA, so it's not like this is a matter of national security or anything crazy. So I got to keep looking back to make sure I'm on the. You guys can see what I'm doing. So where are we at? I guess we can maybe establish where the forehead goes, and I want to say it's the same. I've measured her face before. The chin to the nose, it's like the thirds rule. The nose to the brow. So it's about the same. So this distance is the same as this distance, which is the same as this distance. So we're going to say this is the top. See how like my approach has changed? Like first I started by just doing a big T, and then I was like, no, let me erase that and draw like the outside face. But then I ended up erasing all of that. Like, so there's no one way to like do this stuff. I think I kind of want to try and frame in the face a little bit. So, maybe I will, because then if we start getting like the width and the length and stuff, then maybe we'll have more anchor points to like reference the picture. So let me see if I can get a width. So I'm going to hold the pencil up. Let's see. Let me take a guess first. So I'm guessing the hair. Check the angle right by the eye. I mean, it comes down at this kind of like angle. So let me see the width of this to the other side. Hold on, I gotta. Supposed to be doing some work right now instead of drawing, but sometimes you just gotta do what you gotta do. Alright, so that distance So it looks like it's maybe about right in there. That distance is from here. That's where the hair kind of is over there. Somewhere. What other angle can I take? Okay, let me just check. So it looks like I try to take an angle of like this eyebrow, like what's the distance between here and the hair, and it looks like it's about the distance from the chin to the bottom lip, maybe slightly more. So I mean it's probably somewhere up in here. Again, this is all guessing. It's just to like get something down. So, and at least for me, like that was like a huge step in learning about drawing. Like just that, that fact of like, you don't just have to draw everything. It's like taking measurements, taking angles, taking points, and making little marks. And then, it's almost like connecting the dots, and the more you connect, the more the picture starts to come together. So, it's all about points. Like I know that's the top of the hairline. And then I took this angle of kind of where the hair is at, like how the hair is going up the face. So I draw that. But I know this has to connect to this. So okay, so I just kind of connect it that way. So it's just little by little. So this is kind of where like you stare at it and you try and decide like where do you go from here. So maybe we need to determine like how far the face comes out over here. So if I take it from the nose to the edge of the face, or the edge of the nose, it's about the same as, maybe a little bit less. So I took it from the chin. Let me try that one more time. I'll show you what I'm doing in a sec. It's about, well, that's pretty much so. This distance from the chin to the tip of the nose is about the same as the side of the nose to here. That's kind of where like her cheek meets the ear. Somewhere around here. And it looks like that side of the face where the ear is, it's at a slight angle. Again, I'm not, this is all going to change, of course. I'm just, that angle might be a little too much. No. I'll leave it like that for a minute. So I'm thinking, if that's the distance, if the distance from the side of the nostril to the face is about the chin to the nose, then where does the face end over on this side? So if I take the whole width of the face, let's say right at the nose, so I go that. So it almost looks like it's about maybe that wide. Yeah, pretty close. Pretty close. That's a good feeling. That's a good feeling. So I'm just drawing lines here to kind of block it in. You know, get rid of this here. Start getting rid of my other lines and whatnot. And all these lines are going to go away anyway when I start doing some shading and whatnot. And I'm almost positive this mouth is going to change. I can almost guarantee you that. I don't know a lot, but I do know that this mouth is going to change. But at least I'm kind of happy now with that. It's just by looking at this without any shading, I kind of feel like, you know, where the mouth is on the face. You know, you're not supposed to see, you're supposed to see more of this side than this side of the mouth because the face is turned. And because the face is turned, you should see more of this side. So you should see more of this mouth. You should see more of this side of the nose. Speaking of noses. So as you can see, I don't have a lot of detail down yet. But that'll come. So just a little guess, checking the jaw angles. Just guessing. This will all, I'm sure this will all be changed. So it's hot. Okay. Hopefully I didn't make her eye too big. But again, that's something I'm guilty of doing. And a lot of people might say, oh, well, that's my style, you know. My style is big eyes. But I try not to, like, make excuses for myself. Like, if I'm not trying to draw big eyes, I shouldn't fall back on that as an excuse and be like, oh, that's just my style. No, it's not your style. You just don't know what you're doing. So, I kind of want to, like, lock in the mouth, but I also want to kind of do the eyes a little bit. And I'm almost getting to the point where I might have to start really refining the details, laying down some shading. But before I start, like, really laying stuff down, I like to feel a little bit more confident about what it looks like. This is all a 2B pencil, by the way. It's nothing special. So let me just be one with my thoughts for a second. This looks way too wide, right? Like, I'm feeling okay with the nose size, but from this part to this corner of the mouth, that looks way too big. That looks way too big. It's hard for me to measure like small distances. It's not quite an eye length. And I think I'm going to have to change that. So, I'm trying to measure from this point to where the corner of the mouth is. Maybe I should get an angle first. So the angle is from the top of that nostril. It's kind of like that angle. So maybe somewhere in here. Maybe that's a little better. What do you guys think? Hard to tell, huh? Welcome to my world. Welcome to my world. Welcome to the jungle. I don't know where that came from. All right. So now that I changed this, I'm wondering if I need to adjust the side of the face. So that's about right. At least now that looks about right. So, maybe I'll start adding a little bit more detail to the eyes. It almost looks like that line under the bottom of her eye is like perfectly horizontal. But the one on this side is not. The one on this side comes down at this kind of angle and then curves back up. See, this is all like things I'm learning, like, well, why is that? You know, why is this horizontal but this curves? And I think that's because of how the face is turned. You're going to see more curvature and other parts of the face that you may not normally notice. And You know, so this is going to be, and there's like a shadow that's going to go down. And that's the other thing that as a beginner, like I'm not up to date with like the terminology of things, like cast shadows versus form shadows. I don't know the difference per se, so I just gotta kind of use like common sense. Is this shadow darker than this one? Is this shadow more crisp than this other one? You know, like excuse me. Like if I had gone to art school or something, I would know all this stuff. But because I didn't, I'm just kind of just winging it, you know? I'm just kind of making observations. You know, I'm trying to see like, okay, from the corner of the mouth, how far away is this little shadow on the face? And that looks a little far to me, but you know, then again, there's a shadow here, and then the distance between there, maybe it's not that bad. So at this point, you know, I'm almost at the point now where I'm locking down my proportions. You know, I'm locking down, this is where the chin goes to. This is how big the forehead is. You know, like, once I'm at that stage, and I'm feel confident about where things are, then I'll start laying in the shading, and that can either be really fun or an absolute complete nightmare. So if I stay with that same angle that we were drawing originally, the ear's probably around here-ish. And I'm really not good with ears. So I don't know how much detail I'm going to put into it. Oh, where are we at? My camera's got 39 minutes of battery left. I probably should take a break. Noses are also kind of hard for me, but I think I'm getting a little bit better at them. You know, it's like you got to think of the form, you know, like me drawing this line right here means there's another plane over here, and that's why I kind of draw this little bubble around it. It just makes the nose feel more 3D for my brain to process it. And then it's kind of hard for me to picture everything here. But this is, I think there's going to be a lot of shadow in here underneath the nose. And there's going to be a, you're trying to establish like the plane of the nose and know like, okay, where's the shadow going to be in the bottom and all that stuff. So that'll come with the shading. The eye, I wasn't really finished with it per se, but I have a feeling that this is all going to be, I'm going to start, I think I'm going to take a break in a minute, and then I will start laying down a little bit more shadows so I can see where they are and define a couple more things of the face, a little more planes. You know, like this thing that I just sketched here is kind of like going to be a little darker. So I'm kind of like trying to think of a few rhythm lines here. You know, the chin is somewhere in this area. And you know, you don't have to draw like these little circles and stuff, but it kind of helps me a little bit to get an idea. Get an idea, like a 3D look of like how the face is, you know, where it's pointed and how much like where the cheekbones are, and I'm just kind of slowly, lightly outlining these little lines to get an idea, you know, where the portions of the face are. You know, the eyebrow area. You know, I could see that she's got, like right in here, there's a little level change here, so I'll make this area a little bit darker. You know, the side of the nose is going to be darker. So at this point, it's like I'm kind of almost locking in the measurements. I don't know if I'm going to feel super confident until I like get the teeth and stuff down. So teeth are so hard for me. I'm kind of seeing like where do they go to, the angle, you know, like the teeth angle. You know, that looks like it comes to about over here somewhere. Oh, it's so tough, guys. But again, that's the challenging part. That's what makes it challenging. I looked back at some of my other videos, and you know, if you watch some of my old, or not old, but just previous videos, speed drawing videos, like there's a lot of them you'll see when I'm doing the mouth, and then I just like completely erase it. I just delete it because I'm not happy with it. This one drawing in particular, I probably erased the mouth like 8 times. So, you know, it's funny. It looks better to me looking at it than it does when I look at the camera. When I look at the camera and I look at it, it's like, oh, that doesn't look very good at all. So, we'll see. I think proportionally, I'm feeling okay with it. Yeah, proportionally, I think I'm okay with it. We shall see. We shall see what happens after I come back from break, take a look at it. I think I want to take a break, and then we'll finish up like outlining the hair and stuff. And then we'll start laying down some shading. And then we're gonna party! I don't know why I said that. So, yeah. And the other thing I should say is, like, when you're at this stage and you're looking at it, it's almost like you just gotta kind of, you know, it doesn't look like the person, but you gotta trust, like, your measurements. You know, you measured the distance of the width of the face, you measured the nose to the mouth, all that, and if all that looks good, then kind of just go with it. Don't worry about what it looks like at this point. Just trust in your measurement. You can always erase it later, and I probably will. But let me take a break because I'm like starting to sweat all over. You can't really see my hands glistening. And come back in a bit. Okay, I'm back after a little break, and I got about 30 minutes maybe or less until I gotta do some more stuff, so let's continue on with where we left off. So I want to kind of figure out how tall the hair is, so I'm measuring from the base of the hairline to the top of her head, and I'm going to compare that. And it looks like it goes from basically the bottom of the nose to the middle of the eye. So right about here, that length right there is about the length of the hair. If I can hold on to my pencil. Roughly about up here somewhere. Give or take. Sometimes I get the hair wrong, the shape and whatnot, but that's alright. So, the hair comes down over the ear. That's going to go straight down. I'm just going to kind of eyeball right now as far as how thick the hair is on this side. I mean, that looks a little high for me, but we shall see what happens here. So it looks like around this point it's not too thick, so I'm just kind of penciling stuff in here, guys. I don't know how much I'm going to do of the hair, but we'll see. We'll see. It's weird because without the shading it like doesn't look too much like the picture, but again, that's where you kind of just have to trust that you can make something out of it, that something's going to come from this. So yeah, I'm just kind of penciling in the hair, and let's see, where's that neck start to come down? It looks like it's at that kind of angle. I'm just guessing it's probably around here somewhere. Corner of the mouth to there. Alright, so it looks like it comes down to about here. So this part is all about just kind of guessing, drawing what you're seeing. I don't put a lot of emphasis on any, like all this kind of stuff. It's just more of a guess. Yeah. I'm just looking at the lines of the neck, kind of penciling in some of the shadow shapes, maybe. So maybe you can follow along with the picture and kind of get an idea of what I'm seeing and what I'm drawing here. So again, it doesn't have to be exact, because for me this isn't like the focus of the picture. I'm not trying to have people go, wow, she's got a really cool neck. So that's not what I'm going for. But at this point, it's more like I'm laying down some reference lines of things, so when I do start shading and everything starts coming together, hopefully it, again, looks like a person, hopefully it captures her likeness a little bit. I mean, that's my ultimate goal, is capture likeness. But if I don't, then my second goal is to have it look human and not look like, again, some, I don't want her to look like the Predator or something. But I can already tell that this looks like night and day better than the first time I tried to do this. Just based on this rough sketch. So it's already feels better to me. So I don't want to put a lot of emphasis on the head yet, but man, my hands are sweating. Oh, by the way, I should mention, if the I don't know if the audio is going to start sounding a little bit different, but you guys are right underneath my central air unit, and the air conditioning just turned on, so if it starts sounding a bit echoey or something, that's probably what it is. It's just my air turned on because it's hotter than the friggin' sun in here. So I'm just kind of outlining at this point some of the shadows. Just some of the major shadow shapes that I see. I think I'm at the point now where I'm going to start laying in some details, and I'll show you how I do that. So, I guess I should do a little bit of ear work. Again, I am not good with ears. I know Bradwin is, and he's like studied them, and he's got this thing for ears. Me, not so much. So I'm just kind of just getting something down just so I know that's where the ear is. And so yeah, at this point, this is sort of like, if I were to break my drawing down into steps, this was like all step one, which is make it like almost like a coloring book. Just laying down the figure and get the proportions right, or as close as right as you can get it. And that's sort of step one. And then for me, step two is adding value and stuff to it. So now I'm going to start, I think, putting in some of the initial shading. So I'm not going too dark, but I'm just darkening up things that are going to be dark on them. And hopefully, if I do this right, you're going to start seeing the picture start to take on a life of its own. If I do this right. And that is my favorite part, because when the drawing starts looking like a drawing, or starts looking a little better, that's to me that's what makes it all worth it. So at this kind of stage of things, you'll just notice me, I'm just looking at the picture, noticing changes in color. So like this part of the head is a little bit darker. So I'm just going to slowly start. I'm just going to use the side of my pencil and kind of add some shade here. Down here. And this is like, I kind of get nervous because when you start laying down darker values and stuff like that, you're really starting to like mess with, I mean, now you're starting to be committed. Now it's like if you gotta erase, it's more of a pain in the butt. So I'm hoping that my butt is not pained. I'm trying something different. Like, I usually like put like the dark pupils in the middle of the eyes. If you could see it, her eyes are very dark. But if you look really close, you could see the center pupil where it's darker. But for some reason, I have a feeling if I make the center a little dark right now, it's just going to make her eyes like look really dilated. So I'm just leaving it all the same shade of black right now, and just trying to leave those little highlights in there, since that's really what pops out about her eyes to me. Okay, so it looks like, so her forehead's got some highlights. So to make that stand out, I'm going to put some, I'm going to shade kind of like in this area, because right above this area is where the highlight is, or where it's lighter. So in order to make that stand out, I'm kind of putting some darker tones here. And if it looks really dark, it's all going to get knocked down. I'm going to take some tissue to this and I'm going to knock it down. And that's going to, you'll see. If I do it the way I see it in my brain, it should look okay. So here's to that happening. So I'm just kind of shading things in. This could be like the funnest part of a drawing to a lot of people. To me sometimes too. It all depends on how I'm feeling. And it's a little bit weird for me because, like I mentioned before, this is the first time I'm ever drawing and trying to talk at the same time. Usually, like, if I was doing this on my own, I'd be jamming to some music, you know, feeling the, you know, listening to something that makes me feel more creative. And when you don't have that, you know, then it's like you got to kind of be focused on the video and am I explaining what I'm doing, and is it, you know, going to be well received, and am I forgetting something, and you know, like all these thoughts are going through my head of like what I should be saying or could be saying. So yeah, hopefully I'm gonna do this video some justice. And so hopefully this is gonna look okay. This is, like I said, this is sort of the fun part. It's also challenging too, because like where you see right here where I'm at, that you can tell, like anybody can tell by looking at that, oh yeah, that's a shadow. I can put some shadow there. Where it gets really hard is like the subtle parts, like in here. Like you have to stare at the picture and then you could see, oh yeah, this part here does have a little darker. It is darker than up here. So it's kind of like training your head, training your brain to see the shadows. And again, this is all the same pencil, by the way. This is just a number 2 pencil, a 2B. I will probably switch it up to a harder pencil to get some details more in the eyes. But at this point, if I'm just like focusing on shading and stuff, then I'm not gonna worry too much yet at this point. I'm not really digging the nose yet, but that's all right. We're just, a lot of this is all going to be knocked down when I start doing the tissue. So it looks like there's a shadow cast from the nose. So this part will all be a little bit, yeah, a little value here. This is obviously a little dark here. So if I'm kind of quiet, I'm just sort of like in the zone, you know? Part of it is extreme concentration, and the other part is me like deathly afraid of screwing this up. You don't realize like how much pressure you put on yourself when you try to film yourself drawing, because I mean, you're investing what, 2 hours of your time, maybe longer, maybe a little less. You're investing that into a video that you don't know how it's going to turn out. You don't know if this drawing is going to look like garbage or if it's going to be the next Mona Lisa. So it's sort of like a lot of pressure. At least on me it is. But again, it's also challenging and it's fun because you get to like see. To me, there's nothing more satisfying than seeing something that you were totally not sure about suddenly like start looking like how you envision it to be. You know what I mean? Like, alright, so this is what I'm talking about, like where this, to me, this part is challenging here. This is like you have to try and see where the shadow shapes are. And so I'm seeing a little shadow here. So I'm putting that in. And sometimes if you can't see the shadow, it helps to like look where there's not shadow. So like right here where I'm at, it's almost like a little dimple. And then if you look to the immediate left, it looks, it's whiter there. It's less color. And then over to this side, there's a little more shadow. So it's like I'm going to try and like shade it in a way to where it shows where there's no shadow instead of just showing, you know. So in other words, like think the opposite. Don't just always think like, let me find the shadow. Look for like, where is the white non-shadow spots. Let me leave a white, you know, like draw the inverse of it. So underneath the lip but above the chin. See, the chin looks like there's like a white spot here. So I'm going to try and like, in order to make that stand out, I'm just going to kind of add a little bit of value here. I gotta make sure I don't give her a Spartacus chin. a little Kirk Douglas. So far, I'm not feeling terrible about this. It also helps to like learn, at least for me, like learning like the anatomy, learning like, okay, well at this part of the eyes, you know, it kind of goes in, it dips in the eye socket. And a rule of thumb is that if you want something, if something goes in, the way you make it go in is you add some value to it. You add some shading. So the darker something is, the further back it is. So like if this eyelid is very dark, what's that saying? That's saying that it goes back further into the face. And if you want something to stand out, then you take away the value from that. So since I know the eyes go back into the skull, I'm kind of just adding some value, some laying down just some graphite onto the paper, which should hopefully make the eye go back further and bring other things out. And it also helps to obviously know the form, like know, like the eyebrow kind of bulges out. So you're going to have some spots of that are going to be white. Why is that white? Because it's closer, it's off the face, so there's more there to hit the light. So now I'm just kind of adding a little bit of tone onto the face. And notice at this point, like what I've done, I haven't started rubbing any of this graphite in. I'm just kind of like trying to like lay the shadows and stuff down. Try and leave it darker where I know it's darker. Like I know it's going to be darker on this side of the face because it's the side plane. It's the side that, it's not, this is the front here, so light will fall off it. Like the ear will be shaded in. I don't want to lose this line though where the side of the face is, so I'm kind of keep that there. This is a little darker here. So this is the point I'm at of just bouncing around the image. Some people like to stick in one area and concentrate on that. I kind of go all over the place. I want to make this cheek stand out, so it looks like the shadow does that. So see, it kind of brings the cheek out because I didn't put shading right here, so the cheek is standing out off the face a little bit. I'm going to kind of squint my eyes a little bit. My eyes are all blurry. To see, like, okay, I'm kind of trying to see like where the lights and the darks are. So when I squint, this part stands out here. So in order to make that stand out, I'm kind of just knocking the rest back a little bit. And then I'll look at the cheek, like this cheek, what stands out? Well, right in here stands out. So I'm going to kind of just do a little shading here and there. I think I'm almost ready to knock it down a little bit. And then probably go to a finer pencil here to get some more details. So the hair comes down here. So now I'm just asking myself, at what point am I okay to start laying down, knocking it down and adding more layers to it. So I'm also at the stage now where I'm kind of like, I'm not sure if I'm seeing everything correctly, but you just kind of go with it. The nose needs some shadow. Ugh, excuse me. I think I'm going to fix the nose a little bit. It's okay to erase. So, yeah. Okay. So let me dry the sweat off my hands. I don't know why. I don't know if I'm sweating because it's so hot. It also doesn't help. I got this light right here, and it's not an LED light. It's like a old school bulb. And I think it puts out like, it's like sitting next to a furnace. So what I'm doing now, I'm just taking some tissue and I'm just kind of going over the shading. And what that's doing is two things. It's knocking down the dark spots and it's blending over into the white spots, so you're not, so like the whole skin gets like a little tone to it. So I can still see the dark spots in there. And you can see it's starting to take like a grayish look to it. That's what we want. So now, sorry, I got like so much going on over here. So much, it's crazy. Alright, so now maybe I'll start trying to add the details. So, zoom up my picture a little bit. And now I'm going to start kind of going back over things. Now, if this is going to go the way that I'm hoping it goes in my head, when you watch this on the time-lapse video, this is the cool part. Because this is where now the eyes really start looking like human being eyes. Like it starts coming to life, basically, is what I'm trying to say. I know some of my time-lapse videos, again, that's why I love drawing so much, or one of the things I love about drawing is that you're making something out of nothing. So time lapses are really cool because you see it you see this 2-hour drawing in a span of like 3 minutes, and it's kind of neat to watch it happen. You know, it's like watching a time lapse of a flower blooming. You know, it's like you don't notice how cool it really is until you see it in a fast motion. And sometimes drawings like that too. Like, I wonder, I'm kind of curious how many views this video is going to get, because it's going to be the longest video I've ever filmed. But why am I filming it? Because I'm the type of person where I watch these kinds of videos. I'll sit there and have my morning coffee and I'll pull up my iPad and sit on the couch or sit outside or wherever I'm at, and I will watch 2-hour-long drawing videos if the person's interesting. Some of them out there you watch and they're all like in Chinese or something, and you could still get a lot from those videos, don't get me wrong. But I like, you know, hearing people talk, hear their thought process. And so I'm filming this video because I figure, well, if I like that kind of stuff, maybe there's people out there that aren't going to mind me jabbering away. Sit here and watch this drawing come to life. Hopefully. That's the plan anyway. So eyes can be a little challenging for me. But you know, the more you do them, I guess the easier it gets, or the more comfortable it feels. I don't know if I'd say it's easy. I mean, for me, none of this is easy. And I got to keep sort of reiterating and saying that I've never taken an art lesson. So, don't feel like you can't draw, you know, or because you've never gone to school for it, or you don't know what you're doing, blah, blah, blah. I mean, I have all those same feelings, you know, like, but you just gotta, like, at least for me, like, you try and break it down into the simplest, like, concept. And simply put, like, what have we been doing here? Well, we've been taking angles, drawing dots, and connecting, like, lines, basically. You know, we just angle, put a dot here, that's where that eye goes, that's where that eye goes, connect the dots. If it doesn't look right, just kind of erase it. There's no shame in erasing things. I'm trying to, like, just... This is where, like... Oh, that's another thing I was going to say, is that the more you do this, what I'm doing here, like shading and stuff, you'll be surprised. You'll surprise yourself how many new things you see that you didn't see the first time around. It's almost like the more you put down on paper, the more you see. So at first it's like you don't see something, but then the more you keep doing it and laying down shadows and darkening one area, then another area pops out. And it's like, oh, I didn't notice that. Oh, I didn't know there was a shadow right there. You know, I didn't notice that this part, you know, did this. And so that all comes with, like, training your eye a little bit to see the shadows and stuff. And this is also, like, the most time consuming, but it also could be the most rewarding because again, this is a little different because I'm talking, but normally, like I said, I'd be listening to music right now, and I'll just get in the zone. Like if I listen to some band that, like, I'm really feeling, you know, like just creatively, I'm just like, man, you know, sometimes if you listen to really good music, good for you, you know, like your music may not be like my music, but sometimes you'll listening to good music while you draw, it puts you in this other, like, altered state of consciousness, this zone, and you just start tearing it up. And and then all of a sudden, it's almost like you feel the creativeness of, you know, the band or whatever, the artist that you're listening to. You'll like feel their creativity, and all of a sudden it starts spilling over into what you're doing, and it's like, man, that's contagious. And it's really kind of neat how that works. So right now, that's why I feel a little bit self-conscious, because I don't have that. So I'm just hoping my voice provides that inspiration, that creativity to pump myself up, so to speak. So hopefully it's starting to slowly pop off the paper here. I might zoom up the camera a little bit. Let's try that. Let's zoom it up for you guys. And be quiet. Alright, so I'm liking where this is going, guys. I'm digging it. Now see, remember when I knocked this down? You could still see it's dark right here. I'm just going to add a little bit more. For me, this is sort of my, I don't know, style. Is that the right word? My technique. You know, I look back on some of my drawings and it's like, what do I do the most of? And it's like, oh, I add value, I knock it down, and then I add it again, and I knock it down. So I know the mouth isn't exactly like hers. I don't know how much I want to mess with it, to be honest with you. This is falling under that category I was talking about of, does she not look like an alien? if she doesn't look like an alien, and you're happy with it, then is that so wrong? I don't think that's so wrong, everybody. So this for me is like the sort of the challenge. How much shadow do you want to lay down? How dark is too dark? So I'm kind of, you'll see me jumping all over the place. I'm just kind of adding stuff and then going back and going, okay, now that I've made this darker, I need to like blend it in up here. You know? I got to kind of redefine the side plane here a little bit. So I'll darken it up again, because remember, darkening something down, it pushes it back. So this is going to push the face forward by putting this back. It's going to make this other part jump out. I should start working a little on the neck, I think, because I kind of forgot that or left that out. The hair is also going to be, I think, a little of a challenge for me, but we'll see. Okay. So did I finish telling the story about? So this is the orthopedic surgeon, and she's really a nice girl. Not sure how old she is. She's definitely young. She's young and she's smart and funny, and so I was just thinking about her, and I don't know if she'll ever see this picture or not. Pretty sure she's busy operating on people and not watching YouTube. But, I don't know, I thought it'd be a nice way of me to sort of honor this person for helping my kid. And sometimes you'll do that with your drawing. You'll draw because you're like, you know, like one of my drawings on my channel is a tribute to Chris Cornell, the musician who died earlier this year. And when I found out he died, I was really, really bummed about that. And so, since he was on my mind, I came in here, my little drawing area, and I put on some music, some of his music. And for like 2 hours, I was just in the zone. So you'll find that too, where you know maybe you want to draw something because someone's on your mind, or you watched a cool TV show and you like the character, and it's like, oh, I want to draw that, you know. And I'm not normally I don't draw people that are famous. Not because I don't want to, but to me that's a lot more pressure. That's like, now you got to worry about if it doesn't look like them. You just desecrated their image. Where if you draw somebody that most people don't know, then you don't have as much pressure on you, because they don't know. Like you don't know who this person is. I mean, yeah, I guess you're going to judge me based on does it look like the picture, but that's alright. Just knock down the teeth a little bit. You don't want to make the teeth too, you don't want that to stand out too much. So you can see I'm kind of just jumping a little bit, going to the eyes. You know, darkening that up a little bit. I'll keep checking the camera. I think I'll start laying down the initial hair in a minute. I think once I start getting some of the darker tones in the drawing, it'll maybe pop a little bit more. Knock that ear back. Again, that ear's, you know, it's back, it's furthest behind, so I figure, okay, well, I'll just shade that down a little bit. Alright. Alright, everybody. Starting to feel like it's coming together. Again, hopefully you guys, I'll put a link below and at the end of this video in my little thumbnails of the time lapse of this. And I really encourage you to, like, especially if you're sitting with me this whole time watching this, like, watch the time lapse. And it's really crazy to just see it, like, come together, you know. So I'm just kind of re-going over things as I make one area darker, you know, like as I darken her eyes, all of a sudden I'll be like, oh, okay, now I gotta make something else darker, you know, I gotta bring it out. And I tend to, like, kind of focus on the eyes. I was saying earlier how like one of my mistakes is I make the eyes kind of big. I think I did okay on this drawing. But even if the eyes are a normal size, I still like to try and make your attention go to the eyes, if at all possible. So, yeah. Sorry, I'm forgetting, like I said, if you don't have music playing, you kind of forget that you have an audience talking. And again, I don't know how many people are going to eventually watch this video, but I mean, at the time of me filming this, I think I have just under 22,000 subscribers. So for me, I get like a lot of pressure. Like, oh no, you need to make sure that they're entertained. You don't want to bore the masses. Oh, I wasn't on camera. I'm just kind of adding what we did earlier on the face. I'm just doing here on the neck. So I'm just kind of shading in a little bit of the darker areas of the neck. And then I'll lay on, well, you'll see. You'll see what I'm doing, you silly goose. So this right here, and I'm just doing like little circles. I try not to do too many lines. Like, this looks like a line. I guess it is a line. These are lines. But when it comes to shading or a lot of areas, I try not to draw lines, or if I do it real light, like real light lines. Because they say like there's no like true lines in nature. It's just, I don't know what they say, but a lot of it is just, it's not a line, it's just a different degree of values and different degrees of color. And see, so I know like under the neck, like it's going to cast a shadow, so it's like, okay, this where I'm at now has to be darker. All this all has to be darker than the face. Why? Because the face is closest to you. It's closer than the neck. So where I'm shading here has to be darker to make this area come forward. See? I feel a little weird like talking like this because, again, I'm not, I've never gone to art school, so I don't want to like give false information. Like I don't want people to be like, oh yeah, I was on YouTube and I saw this guy's channel named StogieFarts and he told me this. It's like, well, I don't know if I'm right. I'm just kind of like walking through what I do with the hopes that it's gonna not only help somebody, but help me. Because, like I said, before I started this drawing, I had to go back and look at like I had to watch my old drawing videos, my own videos. I had to watch and learn from myself what I did the last time I drawed, because it's been months and months since I've picked up a pencil. So it's, you can learn from yourself. It's not like, you can be your own teacher. So I just knocked that back. Now I'm going to kind of just go over it again. Add some of the darker values back. It's just kind of my technique. And now that I've knocked it back, it kind of hides the lines that I'm drawing. I'm just doing these little squigglies. I think that's the official word. Squiggly doos. And my brain, like right now, my brain's telling me like, oh, this doesn't look that great. You're killing it. Not in a good way. But I know from experience that 9 out of 10 times, what you think is going to be a big waste of time, and when you just stick with it and just use that creativeness that we all have and just keep slowly working it. Don't be discouraged by what you initially see. Your initial thoughts are usually wrong as far as like self-doubt and you messed up, what are you doing, you're wasting your time. Like, just kind of file those thoughts. File those thoughts in the back of your mind and just be like, okay, whatever. We'll see. We'll see how this turns out. And, you know, if you do make a mistake and you do mess up, you erase it. And if you can't erase it, let's say you've gone too dark on something and there's just no salvaging it, use it as a learning experience. Like I said, the drawing I did right before this, which was a couple days ago when I tried to draw this same person, it looks like absolute crap. It looks like if you gave my dog a pencil and said, here, put this in your mouth and wiggle your face all over the paper. It looks like he would do a better job than what I did. And I sat for 2 days thinking, that's it, I'm done. I don't have it anymore. I've lost it. I don't know how to draw. What was I thinking? All this self-doubt. But you can either, use that like a life lesson, like in life when something happens, you just use it to your advantage and don't let it defeat you. So I just said, you know what? I used it as motivation. I started, like I said, I took a couple days. It took me a couple days to think, like, do I want to try and salvage it or do I want to start all over again? And I was tossing that idea back and forth. And ultimately I said, you know what? Yeah, I know I filmed it for 2 hours and all that stuff. But let me just start fresh. What's the big deal? There isn't a big deal. It's only a big deal if you make it a big deal. Who cares if you start all over? You just chalk it up. You chalk it up to part of your practice. You chalk it up to just being a learning experience, and that's it. If you can learn from it, then it's not a mistake, right? I mean, if you can learn from it, then that's sort of the whole point, It's like a life lesson. In life you're gonna have these teaching moments of things. So I think I'm almost at the point where I want to start doing the hair, because the hair is going to really bring out the face even more. Yeah, I'm liking the way that's turning out. So I'm going to take a break again. I got to do some stuff, give my brain a rest, dry the sweat off my hands, and then we'll come back, we'll do the hair, and go from there, all right? Be back. Okay, I'm back. So let me continue with maybe shading in some of the hair. So this part can be a little tedious, but usually, at least in my case, it all ends up looking pretty good. So I'm just kind of looking at the hair, and like, just like the face, how you look for shadows and dark spots, I kind of do that with the hair. Like usually, you know, like part of you wants to just look at the hair and go, oh yeah, it's all black. But if you look closely, like where I'm at right here, this part of the hair is like the darker part, because it's less reflective light hitting it. And then it kind of goes into this area here where there's more light. So I'm not gonna try and draw like every individual strand of hair, but I am just gonna try and get the flow of it down. So fortunately, her hair is pretty easy as far as there's not a lot of waviness to it. Now it looks like right in here somewhere, if you look, it kind of goes in like this. So all I'm doing is like, I'm going through the hair, I'm just trying to like basically get the flow, get the direction. So there's a flow change here. Here by the face, it still goes straight. Here it goes straight. So, and I don't know if I'm doing this right, you know what I mean? This is just kind of what I do, and sometimes it works out pretty good. So I'm just kind of putting the hair in, and I'm going to eventually go pretty dark in all this area. So same with over here. Just mapping the flow. To be honest with you, can I be honest with you? I'm not sure how this is going to turn out, this part, but I don't know. We'll see. Like I said, sometimes I don't know what I'm doing, and then like I'll look back on the video after it's all compiled and be like, oh wow, that turned out better than I thought it would. So I'm hoping that kind of happens here. Right now I'm just, you know, this is all dark, straight hair. And then maybe I'll fill in the white here with just some pencil, and I'm kind of just trying to stay in the same direction of the flow. See, this part's kind of fun because there's not really anything to it. This is almost like coloring, you know. But But all I'm doing is like laying down lead. Laying down the lead. I don't know why I said that, but laying down the lead. And then I'm going to do the same thing that I did to the face, which is take some tissue and just blend it in. Some people use a blending stump, one of these things. Sometimes I use it, I might use it, but it's kind of hard to deny the effectiveness of tissue. And then I'm going to just, her shoulders over here, just to make it different than the hair. I think I'm just going to put a darker tone in here. Just that, just leave it like that. It's enough to make the hair kind of stand out. This is where, like, sometimes I'll take creative license and be like, if I don't want her, like if I don't want her shirt to be this dark, I might decide to give her a lighter shade. So it really makes the hair stand out a little differently. But again, I'm not, I'm just cross-hatching here. I'm not really, there's no importance to this part. This is not where I want people to look. I just wanted to, like, see how it's making the face kind of stand out a little more. So now I'm going to take my tissue and watch, it's just going to blend the hair in and kind of knock it all down. And I'll just do that here too. Alright. So now she looks like she's got sort of blonde, not like light brown hair. And now what I usually do is maybe I'll take some darker pencils and I'm going to start re-adding some of the dark parts of the hair. This is a 6B pencil that I'm using right here. And if sometimes people want to know, like, well, what pencils are you using? Where can I get them? If I remember, I will put a link where you can get them on Amazon. It's real cheap, so yeah. I mean, I got these at a local art store, Michael's, a little craft store here. But I found them on Amazon. They're pretty cheap. But it's like a little kit, so it gives you all the different shades, darker shades, lighter shades. It's all just, pencil. But so I'm just going to kind of, basically I'm giving the hair like a little more volume. And I'm probably going to do this a couple times, adding some dark shades here to the hair, because you'll see, you'll notice that it's starting to give it, like I said, more volume. It's like it'll give it more three-dimensionality. It's funny how just a little bit of, like, just little touches seem to go a long way as far as, like, how it can change your drawing. Just adding these little lines of darker color here. It starts, again, remember what I was saying before about, like, the darker something is, the more it brings other things out, like, so if I want to like bring out the face, I kind of put dark around it, and that seems to help make the face stand out a little more. So, and there's one other little trick I'm going to do here in a little bit. I'm not exactly done with the hair. I think I'm going to go back to the face a little bit and add some more color and whatnot. I gotta be careful. This is like where I kind of get sloppy. I start losing not interest, but like, I don't know. The hair isn't just the hair. It's not all about the hair for me, as you can tell by my hairstyle. This is you know, for me, I don't know. It's like I focus a lot more on the face, and then when I get to the hair, sometimes it's like I don't know. It's like a chore sometimes. So I'm going back to the eyes because I want the eyes to really stand out. So I'm going to darken them up a little bit. Again, hopefully I don't make her look like a demon spawn. But and I kind of go back over some of the things that I shadowed before, like the eyelids and stuff, just to like, I don't know, give it a little bit more personality. But this is also where like I got to be mindful of like this part of the face because it's shadow from the hair. So you don't want it to look like all the same tone, right? You want it to, you know, you want this where I'm shading right here. You want that to actually be not as dark as the hair. So then I'll take like a darker pencil and right here I'll kind of make this part darker. So hopefully, and it looks like it might be creating that illusion, because this line is darker than this here, I'm trying to create the illusion that this is a shadow. Looks like it's hard to tell when I'm looking at the picture, but when I look at the video, my little preview window, it looks like it's starting to take shape. So a lot of times it's like thinking about the form of the hair, like where I'm at here where the ear, it looks like it goes back, like it's coming from the back, so I make that a little darker since that's further back, where this hair up here is lighter. It's closer to the light, so I don't try and darken that as much. Likewise, looks like behind the ear here, this is all super dark because it's way in the back. So by just making this area here a little bit darker, it kind of gives that illusion that it's further back. You know, to me, another cool thing is that I like to do is just, you know, focus on the highlights and focus on the dark spots. If you can like make the highlights pop and make the dark spots really dark, like that combination to me is like it's really worth it. So you can see I keep going back to the eyes because I don't know, I think that's like the centerpiece, and that's where ultimately I want people's attention. You just got to be careful, at least I got to be careful, because I don't want to, you don't want to put too much on the eyes to where they like glow like they're night lights. You don't want the eyes to pop off the face and take attention away from the other stuff. So I'm looking at this thing here, and I guess I don't know if it necessarily looks like her. But tell you what, looks a lot better than the first time I did this. I know I've said that a few times, but holy cow. My first attempt, you could tell I hadn't drawn for a long time. I mean, it looked human, but just the proportions were a little off. Alright, so let me focus a little bit on the nose here. This is where like the little subtleties, like, for me come into play. Like, I gotta be real careful. I don't want to like overdo any shadows. Now I also gotta be careful because like I kind of shade the lip a little bit because I want to like represent that it's going back. Like this part's in shadow. Let me work on the nose a little bit here. I don't want to make her nose, I gotta be careful I don't make it too pointy or too bulbous. It's a funny word. And I'll keep looking at the camera. That's usually a good reference. Sometimes if you see the camera or you take a picture of your drawing, it'll help you see certain things that maybe you didn't notice before. It looks like I need to kind of rework the eye over here. I always worry about this part. Like, I don't want to give her like bags, big bags under her eyes. But you also, like, one of the things I'm learning, and that a lot of people will tell you, is that just try and draw what you see. Like, sometimes I get like tunnel vision, and I'll just hyper focus on one area, like one little thing. And so if you see like a little line like right there on the eye, then draw it. If you see a little thing somewhere, just put it in. Like, try and put in what you see and not what you think is there. That's why I'm always like constantly looking up, looking back up, because if I look down too long, my brain starts going, oh, this is how the eyebrow should be, or whatever, and then it just starts doing its own thing, and it's like, whoa, hold on there, brain. Who told you to do what you're doing? So, I'm gonna maybe work the hair a little bit more. Kind of blend it in a little bit with the tissue. And this is an 8B pencil. This is the darkest pencil I have. So this is you're gonna notice this. I try and use this pencil mainly as like the highlight, the dark highlights. So just go to the darkest part of your drawing and use that only there. I'm debating if I should even take it to the eyes or not. Usually I'll take it to the corner of the mouth. A little corner here. I don't think I'm going to hit the nose because I don't want to make that jump off too much. But I do want the face to come out a little bit. So sometimes I think with this pencil I don't tend to rub it in like you saw me do with the tissue with the other ones. I think, if memory serves, I just kind of use this as a last layer, you know. Let's see if I do this right here. Hopefully it brings out that shadow on the forehead. And it really makes it look like the hair is three-dimensional. And if I did this too much, like if I really like overdid this part, I think it would take a lot away from the drawing, I think. Because then if everything's the same shade, then it's like, well, where does it stand out? Like if everything's the same. So I just kind of use it to sparingly, you know. Alright, so back here it looks like it's a little dark because it's the furthest part of the head. Maybe a little bit in here. So see, I'm not trying to do too much with it. Maybe I'll go back to this is the other thing, like not being like a trained artist. I don't really know what I'm doing here. I'm just like going, oh well, like I have these pencils that I was telling you about. And so I just grabbed a darker one because I know right down in here I want the head to come off the neck. And so by just putting a little bit of shade underneath here, it should make the neck, it should make the head suddenly come forward. See how now it's almost three-dimensional as far as that? So now what I'm going to try and do is let's see what happens if I pull out some highlights. This is actually one of my favorite parts. First, let me just kind of add a few more strands of hair. I'm not using a dark pencil for this part. This is an HB pencil, which is pretty just regular, not too dark, not too light. So, I'm going to try and bring out a few things, like if I'm looking at her neck, this part right here, there's a spot, there's a little highlight maybe in here. You lighten this up a little bit over here. I want to make this look like it's the part of the neck and not. There, see, now it looks more like part of her body, and it looks separate from the hair. So across her forehead, it looks like in here she has some light reflecting a little bit up here. Her cheeks in here. Usually down the bridge of the nose. Alright, so I might have to work on this nose a little bit more. Not too much. They say when it comes to girls, you know, you don't want to like overdo the nose, because you don't want to give them that like too much of that feature. Trying to be real subtle with the nostril. Let me see. I think I'm going to darken the lips up a little bit. I know I kind of like ignored. Oh, maybe I should put more focus into the mouth here. So I'm going to kind of darken the lips up. As you could see, I kind of like stopped working on the teeth. I don't know if I'm gonna. I might do a little bit on those teeth, but I'm almost at the point now where it's like, what can I possibly do to change it? Probably not a whole lot. I'm going to see, I'm just using a kneaded eraser. I'm going to see if I can like pull out a little bit right on that little crevice of her lip. It looks like I don't have any ink really right there, but sometimes by outlining the lips a little bit, it brings them out. Makes them a little bit fuller. So, yeah, let's just keep going with this. I'm slowly getting to the stage now where it's like, when do you stop? You know, like when is it too much? When have you reached your skill set where you have to call it, you know? Because part of you or part of me is never satisfied. So I'm sure whether you're an artist watching this or not, you can probably relate to that in almost anything you do. You know, if you want to do it right, you're always like, can I do it better? Is this my best? Some of my earlier drawings, they I think I mentioned this before, but they weren't dark enough. Like, I noticed that I kind of like stopped because I liked the way that the proportions were, like, you know, it looked like the person or whatever, but I just could have pushed it so much more and I didn't. And so I'm trying to keep that in mind with this drawing in particular. And I don't want to like call it and then regret it, you know, look back on it after and then just be like, oh man, I could have totally done this and I didn't do it. So, but I can tell you right now, I'm getting there. I'm almost at the point now where I'm just like, okay, I don't know if I can do a whole heck of a lot more here. So does it look like her? You be the judge. I think it looks similar. So kind of happy with that. I'll take similar. But how much do I keep going? That's the question. All right, so I'm really afraid to mess with the teeth. Because teeth are scary. Teeth can be a whole other nightmare. Usually with the teeth, you just kind of do the dark portions in between the teeth, just by just a little tiny subtle dot. You can give the impression that it's teeth. It doesn't take much. You don't want to draw too much on the teeth itself. At least that's what I've found. So I'm trying to, like, I can't really see it, but I'm just trying to think, like, the bottom part of the lip's probably a little bit darker since it's away. So I'm just kind of like, you know, there's this part here on the bottom lip. Looks like it's a little darker, possibly a shadow from the teeth. So let me shade the back teeth a little bit since they're in the back. And then let me see what else. So this is all, I'm just giving a little light shading since this is all lower in the picture. And then if the light is hitting in this angle, this side is going to be lighter, or a shade more shaded. So I'm just kind of giving a little, sort of like a gradient shading here. Kind of turns the form, I think, a little bit. I mean, because if you figure her head is tilted a little bit, so this side should be a little darker, right? I mean, and by doing that, again, the darker you put something, the more you're putting it back. So if I'm pushing this back, that means I'm bringing this other stuff forward. So that gives the illusion. You can kind of pick up the illusion here that her head is tilted a little bit towards the light, or at least that's what I'm hoping my drawing conveys. So usually at this stage now, I have like one of the lightest pencils, or the hardest pencil. This is a 4H. H is for hard. And I kind of go over like the little details. I can use this to do this kind of shading because it's very subtle. It's not gonna put too much onto the paper. So I'm just kind of squinting my eyes. So this I need to kind of darken. And again, I make this video for me as much as I do it for you, because I can tell you right now, as long as this video is, I'm going to go back and watch it at some point, because I'm going to need to. At some point, I'm going to look at this drawing and I'm going to go, wow, how did I do that again? How did I start that out? Did I start that out with a circle and draw the eyes first? Did I draw the nose first? How did I do that? I don't remember, because there's going to come a point when I'm going to just forget. I'm going to get busy, I'm going to stop drawing, I'm going to lose motivation. Like, there's all kinds of things that happen with me in particular. You know, motivation's just one of them. And if I lose motivation, sometimes I like refer back to these drawings to give myself motivation. And I'll look at a drawing like this, and many times it'll motivate me to start drawing again. And so, like I said, that's why I kind of use this as a learning thing for me. I'm trying to bring the highlight out of the eyes a little bit. It's not working. I need to buy like a real small eraser. I haven't yet. I know they're on Amazon. I know I can get them at a local place. But right now I just have this kneaded eraser. But I wish I could really pull out a couple more of these highlights, but alright, so let me darken this a little bit. This is at the stage now where it's like just when you think like, okay, this is it, I can't do any more, then you'll see something and go, oh, glad I saw that. Sounds like my family's home, so if it gets loud, that's why. Maybe my daughter will come in, you'll see her with her busted leg. She loves when I do these drawing videos, so it wouldn't surprise me if she hears me talking in here and wants to make her presence known. I gotta be careful I don't like give her too many this picture. I don't want to give her too many lines here, you know. I don't want to make her cheeks, you know, bigger than they might really be. So I think I'm almost done, almost ready to call it here. If you guys have questions or anything like that you want to ask me about, just leave a comment. I read all my comments. I always read all my comments. And I will answer them in the order in which they are received. Let's see if I can get a little. Alright, I'm liking that. It's amazing what a little eraser can do as far as the highlights. You know, like if I want the chin to stand out a little more, I'll just kind of put a little highlight right there and it kind of pops the chin out. And I'm thinking this is going to be done here shortly. I'm thinking she looks pretty. Not exactly like her. I mean, I didn't get the likeness particularly well. It might be the eyes. So let me just focus a little bit more on the eyes here. You know, I wish I can like have music on so you guys could like have something to listen to besides me just rambling on. But I don't want YouTube to pull it. I've had a few drawing videos that I've found like supposedly royalty-free music, and so I added on there. And then like down the line, I get a message from YouTube saying the copyright violation. Someone finally decided to claim it. So I don't know if they just like changed their mind, used to offer something for royalty free, and then they decided no, the video that I put it on is getting too many views. I got one video on my channel at the time of this posting, has almost 4 million views. It's me doing a magic trick. If you go to my channel and look up world's greatest, I think it's world's greatest card trick. It's got over 3 million views. I think it's closer to 4 million views, and half of the comments on there are people calling me, you idiot, you suck, you're ugly, get this bald idiot out of here. It's like, jeez, you guys are vicious. You got nothing better to do but to waste your time putting negative comments on a video. Like, what's up with that? But doesn't bother me. Sticks and stones, all that stuff, I can care less. I'm a grown adult, so it doesn't bother me what people think. People are entitled to their opinion. You can call me ugly and stupid and everything else you want. My video is the one that has 4 million views on it. And you look at their profile and they don't have a single video, no subscribers. But they can sit there and criticize all they want. Make them feel better about themselves. So I'm just kind of doing I'm just kind of stepping through the drawing here, looking for any last minute things to focus on, I guess. I know I'm gonna think I'm done with it, and then afterward I'll see something. But again, to be honest, I'm not a professional. I'm not a trained artist, so a lot of this stuff, it's just out of my skill set at this point. I don't know what more I can do. You know, if I was a better artist, I'm sure I'd see something and go, oh yeah, I totally could have done this or whatever. But I'm thinking at this point here, there's not too much more I can do with this. And to be honest, sometimes that's what it's all about, you know. Do your best. Do it to the best of your ability. If you feel like that's it, you know, if you feel like I can't possibly push it any further because I feel like, you know, it's done, then listen to that little voice and, you know, just heed that voice, you know. So I'm just kind of giving last minute, you know, last minute details. It's kind of hard to call it, to be honest with you, but at this point, I think the video's gone on long enough. For those of you who have watched this whole thing, I really appreciate it. And to just to find out which one of you guys watched this whole thing, we'll have a little secret code word maybe What should our code word be? You can put it in the comments, and I know if you put it in the comments, that means that you saw the whole video. Let's say the code word is I don't know. I don't know. What's a good code word? Let's it can't be something related to the drawing, because people might have a question and ask something and use the code word. Maybe the code word will be, let's just do, I don't know, how about fingernail clippers? So if you end up leaving a comment that just says fingernail clippers, I know you watched this whole video, because it would be awfully hard to just skip to that part of this video and know what the heck I'm talking about. So I almost forgot, one of the things I like to do with the hair is take the kneaded eraser and watch what this does. Hopefully this turns out, but it should really bring out some of the hair. Just like even like little thing like that. It brings out these little highlights. Adds a little more volume to the hair. Knock it down just a little bit. So again, I'm not the greatest at this this drawing stuff. But it's fun. I like it. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. If you also have like critiques for me, please be gentle. But I am always open to hear your thoughts and suggestions. And again, if you want to see me do something else, or you have requests, or let me know. I try, and sometimes I'll pick things that are easier, sometimes I'll pick things that are hard to challenge me. This was a challenge because, one, I know the person, and two, it was just a little bit difficult because the head's tilted. It's not exactly straight on. And the first time I tried it, like I said, I completely butchered it. So this was sort of a redemption for me to see if I could redeem myself in my own eyes. Prove to myself that I don't suck, not to get down on myself. And just in closing, I just want to let you know again that I'm not a trained artist. I've never gone to school. I haven't been drawing my whole life. So if I can do this, you can do this. I know it sounds cliche, but I like drawing because it's constantly like validating to myself that, wow, if I can do this, and I haven't been drawing my whole life, and I've never gone to school for it, and all this stuff, if I can do this, man, anybody can do this. It just takes, it's just a mental exercise. It's just a mental exercise so you don't get down on yourself. Alright. I'm thinking I'm going to call it, guys. I'm thinking I'm going to call it. Just because there's not much more I can do. I mean, I'm sure I can sit here for another hour and slowly, like, you know, update things. But knowing what it looked like my first attempt and seeing it now, man, this is like way better. I'm totally happy with it. And I hope to stay motivated so I can keep this up, because you really do kind of lose something if you stop for a while. So, as with all my pictures, oh, tomorrow's my birthday, by the way. I had to look at the date, and it didn't even occur to me tomorrow's my birthday. I'll be 27 years old tomorrow. Actually, that's a lie. I will be 42 tomorrow. So in honor of my 42nd birthday, let's call this one. I'll call this a good step in the right direction back from not drawing for months. So all my pictures, I sign my name. What's my name? Jeff Mash, and then I put the date. So 9/7/17. And that's it. Thanks for watching, guys. Leave me comments so I can read them, and I'll be back. See ya.